What's up, you guys? Today, what I want to talk about is I'm going to talk about the food industry, the big food industry, and how they're lying to you, how they're deceiving you, and all the things around that. And we're going to dive into three different angles around that today. So, one of the biggest angles here that I want to talk about is the marketing that they're using. So the big food industry, what they will do is they will market to you on the front of packages, on the front of boxes, bags, whatever it is that you're buying out there. They're going to tout something as healthy when it really isn't. For example, some grain bars and different things like that. It's a perfect example because they often make it look so delicious and healthy on the front of the box, and they list no artificial flavors, no high fructose corn syrup, no synthetic colors or any of that stuff, and then they list on the front that it's only 140 calories and all this other stuff. There's so many marketing ploys that they use, made with whole grains, a good source of calcium and iron, no high fructose corn syrup. Let me speak to the calcium and iron and the vitamins and minerals that you might see in the ingredient list. I got to tell you one thing about those. Those are synthetic. Your body might absorb 10% of those. So just because in the ingredient list or on the nutrition fact it's listing all kinds of like vitamins and minerals and everything else, don't buy into that because they're all synthetic. All of it. You are going to get your real vitamins and minerals from foods with minimal ingredients or mainly foods with one ingredient. That's where you're going to get your real nutrition. And that's where your body's going to be able to absorb that in. So, just be careful, you guys, on what you're buying to out there as a healthy option. I'll give you just another really quick example. So, Kraft Mayo, they came out with a mayo that is made with avocado oil. And they also advertise on the front of the jar that is made with cage-free eggs. And then they got a photo of the avocado and the green of the avocado, and it looks so healthy and everything else. If you're busy and you're just looking for a healthier choice, you're going to be tempted to grab that because it really does genuinely look like a better choice than maybe what you were buying before, maybe the regular mayo that you were buying before. And again, this is just an example. But the thing about it is when you start learning the habit of turning the freaking thing over, turning things over, you discover the truth. So in this example with Kraft Mayo being made with avocado oil, or even the one that's made with olive oil, as they also advertise out there, you got to turn it over because when you turn it over, you're going to discover it also has canola oil and soybean oil in it, which pretty much cancels out the good oil. So, I don't want to take too much time explaining this, but the industrial seed oils are extremely damaging to your body. They cause chronic inflammation. They cause severe metabolic damage. They cause severe oxidation to your cholesterol cells, which means it damages your cholesterol overall. And it causes it causes your body to literally reprogram itself to now store fats. That's how severe those seed oils are, the industrial seed oils. So we're talking canola oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, vegetable oil, hydrogenated oil. The list goes on. Like I said, I'm not going to dive too deep into that, but just giving you an awareness. Be careful of the marketing that they're using out there on you. Don't buy into it. Start developing the habit of turning the freaking thing over. I extensively go over this in my mini bootcamp series that I'm running right now, which, by the way, is only $75. Seriously, honestly, if $75 is a sizable investment, I think you might need to prioritize some things. But anyhow, let's move on. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about today is how these companies spend oh my gosh, millions and billions of dollars to literally bring you to the perfect bliss point. And I want to speak to that here for just a second. So these companies have paid top scientists millions and billions of dollars to put certain ingredients in your food that literally bring you to the perfect bliss point. And most of these ingredients are like bioengineered ingredients, they're genetically modified, all of that. They are GMO, they're included in the natural ingredients. It's all part of their formula that they use to literally bring you into a place of the perfect bliss point because it tastes so freaking good, right? I mean, I'm not going to deny that. Those processed foods, those ultra processed foods, they do taste good, but that is because they've literally been designed to taste good. And let's break this down a little further. So, because of the fact it brings you to that perfect bliss point, it then begins to create new neural pathways in your mind that attach themselves to that pleasure center in your brain. Because remember, it brings you to the perfect bliss point, which means that it it touches the pleasure center of your brain. And then because it does that, you eventually end up basically desiring those foods. So it changes your food desires, it changes your taste buds in your mouth, and it begins to rewire you to now crave and desire those foods. This is at the heart of where a lot of snacking issues are coming from. This is at the heart of where a lot of hunger issues are coming from. This is at the heart of where a lot of these major problems that people tend to have are coming from. It's because their brains have been reprogrammed literally from this bliss point. Then, because it's attached to the pleasure center of the brain, guess what? Emotions are now attached to that. So now you've got emotional eating that starts to happen because of that. And so this is what I'm saying, guys. It's literally, you've got to be careful with these foods and make healthier food choices. Um, it's just not good. This is what these companies do. They spend millions and billions of dollars to bring you to that perfect bliss point, which then creates all kinds of unhealthy eating habits. And the next thing that I wanted to go over here is look, then what happens is as you continue to crave these foods over and over and over and over again, you eventually experience weight gain. You eventually then start developing health problems because of it as the side effects as these foods. And then you kind of go into the healthcare system where you're being treated and taken care of these issues. But the thing of it is the healthcare system, they're just putting band-aids on it for you. They're not solving the problem. The problem doesn't get solved until you start turning the freaking thing over and you start making better choices. Buying things with minimal ingredients and buying things with one ingredient is the solution of that. But did you know that the healthcare system, the healthcare costs are at an all-time high? Why? Because of these kind of foods, because of the way these foods have been engineered and designed. Don't get so wrapped up in how good they taste. Remember, they've been designed to taste that way, but it's not real food, you guys. So, yeah, I'm hoping that that point is really ringing home. Now, the next thing that I want to go over here is I want to go over a few stats because I think these stats that I want to pull up are really, really powerful. Just to kind of let you know where we're at in our healthcare system, where the overall health of the world is because of these kind of foods. 18 million people die each year from heart disease. Let that sink in for a minute. 18 million people die every year from heart disease. You guys, the majority of that is from processed foods, processed sugars, industrial oils, most boxed foods, most pre-made foods, frozen dinners, most packaged foods. The list literally goes on, you guys. 45% of the world's population is either overweight or obese. Let me break that down to you. 45% of the world's population, which is 8.5 billion people, is 3.82 billion people. Let that number sink in for a minute. 3.85 billion people. That's a lot of people, you guys, in the world that are overweight or obese. Now, let's calculate in the average rise of that number each year, which is 3.54%. That number, that percentage is rising every year. The projections are in the next 3 to 5 years, the rates will be at 52 to 55% of the world's population being overweight or obese. Here's another interesting statistic for you. About 75% of the US population is overweight or obese. What does that tell you, you guys? What does that tell you? Now, let me throw something else at you. Look, before the 1950s, the overweight and obesity rates were at 10 to 12%. I invite you to do some research at things that started happening after the 1950s. You have the low fat, fat free scam that came up. You have, the industry pointing the finger at saturated fats and ignoring the fact that sugar was a big culprit for coronary heart disease. You have the lovely food pyramid that came out, and that's just a recipe for diabetes and disaster and overweight and obesity issues. You have all these things. You have the industrial seed oils that started coming out at around after the 1950s. When you start looking and you start stacking all these things, you start seeing why we're where we are today. Over 4 million people die every year from obesity alone. You guys, these are staggering numbers. So again, how do you get around some of this stuff? Number one, turn the freaking thing over. Number two, buy things with minimal ingredients. And number three, buy things with one ingredient, better yet. Lastly, I mentioned earlier in this video, I'm running a mini bootcamp series. It is very in-depth. It is very extensive. And it is going to literally empower you to make better choices at the grocery store. You will walk away from this mini bootcamp feeling empowered. And so I am in this bootcamp. I am giving away my 3 secrets to being able to stop the hamster wheel dieting, to be able to break free from the sugar cravings, to be able to finally keep the weight off for life, to be able to finally be able to sustainably lose weight. In just 3 short one-on-one sessions with me, you are going to walk away empowered, equipped with an empowered mindset. You're going to walk away with being equipped to spot the industry food lies and avoid the common pitfalls. And you are going to walk away being equipped to see past all of the deceptive marketing that they use and make more informed choices around your food. All in just a 2.5-week span, you guys. Listen, the first client that came to my boot camp on her last session with me said to me, now I'm excited to go to the grocery store. Who says that, right? I don't even say that. And I know all the things. But she felt empowered enough to say that to me. Another client came to my boot camp and just simply said the words, I feel really empowered now. Client after client after client I have coming through my boot camp are making breakthroughs and are being empowered to make those choices because now they're seeing the lies and deception. And I make sure that they have a ground to stand on in which they'll never be moved again by the industry fads and all this other stuff. One client that not a client, just a friend and colleague of mine, we did a mastermind together on it in a different program. I was on a Zoom call with her the other day, and I gave her a sneak peek into my boot camp because she was asking about it. And I spent about 7-10 minutes on a Zoom call with her. I shared my screen. I showed her some of the PDF booklets that come with the boot camp. I was kind of like giving her like a brief overview of all of it. And then I asked her, I said, Daniela, how much do you think you would pay for something like this? You know what she said to me? Her words, not mine. She said $1,000. Imagine her surprise when I told her it was only $75 for my boot camp. You get 3 sessions with me, one-on-one sessions. You get a booklet with each section to keep. You get the recordings, and you also get bonus booklets throughout. You've got nothing to lose. You've got nothing to lose but the extra weight you might be trying to lose. And you have your health to gain. You have your power to gain back. You have freedom to gain back. Because that's exactly what this boot camp is going to give. All right. Anyhow, so you want to dive into my boot camp and you want to dive deep on how you can make better and more informed choices around your food and dive really deep into the industry lies and the marketing deceptions that they use on you, then join my boot camp. You can find it in the description. Join it. You click, you fill out your information, you go through the checkout, you create your password, and then you book your first appointment with me. And from there on out, we manually book our appointments so it works with your schedule as well. All right, guys. So that is it for this video. Hopefully you have a great day wherever you are in the world, day or evening, depending on wherever you are in the world and what time you're listening. And I will talk to you on the next video. Talk to you guys later.